so I think this is the second paper in the row on this particular topic. So what this paper does is it talks about asymmetric agents and dynamic contributions to public goods. Okay, so a public good, individuals, like what I was saying, individuals are heterogeneous, and a public good often benefits the individuals asymmetrically. And the examples are plenty. Think about an elevator. Think about an elevator in a DDA flat where there is no elevator, right? There are 4 floors. There are people living on each floor, and they come together and think of installing an elevator. Okay, obviously the people living on higher floors have a higher valuation because their benefits are higher. Just by that, okay. Or obviously the compelling example, right? Everybody is talking about these days is the quality of air that we breathe in. So an improvement in the air quality is received very differently by different individuals depending on a lot of things. One is their age, because the kids whose lungs are still growing are much more susceptible to PM2.5, but otherwise there are vulnerabilities due to other factors. You know what I'm talking about, the lungs problem, heart problem, age, if you had a surgery or whatever. So there are issues, you find examples where a public good benefits different individual differently. Okay. Now I'm just going to make this definition, just give you the definition right now. We're going to keep talking about this over and over again, and I'm going to give you different angles of this. But the interrelationship between the provision of a public good and its utilization classifies the good in 2 broad categories. One is called a continuous public good, something that you can continue to use at any stage of provision. Another is called a discrete public good. A discrete public good is like a project. You start the project, you can only use the public good when the project is ended and the good is delivered, the provision is delivered. To fix ideas, just think about a discrete public good, either a bridge is a classic example, or an elevator. Continuous public good, I am going to refer to the air quality here because that was the motivation of this paper, but there are plenty. Okay. So what am I doing here? I have about 40 minutes, right? 40 minutes. Okay. So what am I doing here? So the whole idea is the following. So what I am doing here is I am trying to analyze the dynamic contributions to public goods, the goods that are both continuous and discrete, over time by strategic individuals who benefit from the provision differently. This is the problem.
Can we ask at any stage?
Sure.
In the definition itself, once the public good is completed, say the laying of the bridge, it becomes continuous?
No. So when suppose it's a bridge, if it is not completed,
even if it is completed, then it becomes a continuously available.
No. Continuous is suppose you are collecting money to purify your air, okay, locally. Now, whatever money is collected, you can use this to buy an air purifier of that quality. Okay, you can still use the money. Think about a big air purifier, and then you think about individual filters. So you have 10,000, you collect, you buy one purifier. Tomorrow you get 5,000 more to add one more good filter. Day after tomorrow you add one more good filter. So you can use the money in the provision whichever way you like at any stage of completion. But if it is a bridge, you can't use the bridge before the bridge is completed.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not worried about before it is. I'm saying once it is completed, it becomes continuously available.
It becomes available.
Completely available.
That's what I'm, there is no
talking about.
Sure.
But the same example, actually, once if you extend that air purifier over the example, suppose if you see this flyover out to Ladakh, you have one lane, you can actually continuously keep expanding. Just like you collect more money, you see more traffic, you can expand it also. So in that sense, I really don't see the distinction. But this is only, I mean, we are more informally.
Then that's fine, that's completely
I don't
alright.
see that distinction as you would have liked to communicate between the air filters and between a bridge in
No,
terms
but
of
even-
discrete and continuous.
But even if you are adding a lane, that
You
lane,
can continue using this.
sure, but that lane, if it takes 1 month to add, you can't use it in between a month.
So, I mean, if I say like this, am I correct? Continuous public good is a public good which was there, is there, will be there.
That's what I was thinking, global and local.
Global and local, and the distributed the provisioning has made it
Think
available and now
about,
onwards.
think about street lights.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
Think about the jogging track in a park.
But these are all local public goods, right?
Yeah.
These are public goods, but it can be targeted in specific places.
Sure.
And the kind of public good we are talking about, air quality and all, those are global public goods.
They are global public good, but when you purify air locally, it becomes accessible to local people, right? It is now, if you think about if the Delhi government do something for everybody else, that's obviously a global thing, but that you cannot have privately provided.
Sure.
So there is no scope of private provision, right?
Sure.
So when it's a private provision, it's always like a cloud. Okay, it's like a cloud. So what we are doing is this. So this is what we are doing. That think about. So think about just think about a situation where there is this DDA flats, and there is this one building which has 10 families living in different floors, and they get together and they need an elevator. Okay. Now, elevator is not something, for example, this is an example, maybe they can, but the elevator is not something that they can utilize. They can come up with the money at one period, so they have decided to contribute over time. Okay. Now, the individuals are otherwise symmetric. They contribute some money. The contribution cost is symmetric across individual. They discount future symmetrically. So, 1 rupee today means delta rupees tomorrow for everybody. Okay? The only thing is that they live on different floors. So they still have a different benefit from that provision, and that's a common knowledge. That's a public information. There is nothing hidden about that. So what I'm doing here is, and this I'm going to talk about that later because this is a characteristic of the equilibrium I'm talking about, which is called a Markov-Perfect equilibrium. I'm going to talk about that later. So what I am doing is I'm just trying to analyze the role of this asymmetry valuation plays in individual contributions over time, and what is the social implication of that in terms of a lot of things, provisions, utility, and all that. Okay. So this is the problem, this is the central problem. So the idea is just to try to find out a dynamic private provision of public good with individuals who benefit differently from that provision. Okay? Now, before getting into before telling you, like exactly pinpointing what I have done and what is the contribution of this paper to the literature, I'd like to, let me get you through the literature, major contributions of the literature that we are talking about, okay? And I'm going to keep it mostly to I'll keep it from as it evolved. So the first major contribution was from Bhattacharya Perry. So his problem was actually a seminal one. So he, in 1991, what he talked about, what he said, is the following. He said that let's think about two individuals, okay? Let's think about two individuals who are contributing over time for a bridge that is beneficial for both of them, okay? There is nothing hidden, no in private information, everything is public information. They are alike in every sense, okay? They just need the bridge. And how do they make the project without any commitment? There's no commitment, okay? It's a voluntary contribution. So the first thing you notice is that half and half cannot work, right? If you say that, okay, I'll give you the half first, you give me the half later. Because of the nature of the bridge, the moment the first half is done, and the second one I'm going to tell you, look, your money is gone anyway, right? So might as well contribute some more, otherwise I'm not paying a penny. So this is not credible. So in equilibrium, what they find, the only credible way is to alternate payments, small payments. So I pay 10 rupees and wait for you to make your turn. You pay 15. When I see you pay 15, then I maybe pay another 20. Then you pay 27, I don't know, whatever. So they make small step-by-step contributions, but the most important thing is that what we see in equilibrium, in the sub-game part of equilibrium, is that they increase their contributions as the project progresses. Okay, so towards the end, contributions are the largest. Okay, but some socially beneficial projects do not get contributed. Beneficial means, socially beneficial means, the definition of socially beneficial is the cost of the project, the lifetime cost of the project is less than the lifetime benefit of the project. Okay, so some socially beneficial projects do not get completed. Okay, why? Primarily because individuals in the beginning make very tiny small contributions over time, and then that leads to a lot of delay in completion, and future is discounted. Of course, today is not same as tomorrow. So as long as future is already discounted, after a point of delay, the projects do not stay socially beneficial anymore. Okay. So this is the classic paper. This is a major contribution of that in this game. This guy, as I said, confirmed the same finding in a continuous time framework. This is a discrete time framework. So he did it in a continuous time framework. He confirmed the same finding. So the contributions increasing at the project progresses, that the technical term of that is strategic complementarity, and then social inefficiency means that some socially beneficial projects do not get completed. Now on the other hand, this paper shows that if the good is continuous, okay, if the good is something that whatever money is collected, you can immediately use that money. And then as you collect more money, you can keep adding. Okay. If the good is continuous, then individuals' contributions decrease over time. As I see more has been collected, I try to figure it on others. I try to think that, okay, everybody is collecting, everybody is contributing already. Why wouldn't I reduce my contribution and try to figure it on others? So individual contributions, the free-rided problem aggravates as the agent makes the contribution decision based on other people's contributions. Okay, so these are very different kind of contrasting results on a distinct good and a continuous good. Okay, but these are all homogeneous agents. Okay, now asymmetric agents, we don't have a lot of contributions in the literature. This is a very classic paper, and that paper said that paper tried to find out that, okay, if we try to do this problem by material pair, introducing two individuals who are different in their valuation, but the project is very small. It's not an elevator anymore, because I don't want a project that can go on for 5 years. I want a project which can complete in 2 large contributions, if they want to contribute that big. Okay, so he considered a project which is small, and he showed 2 things. He showed that the project in a sub-game perfect equilibrium does finish in 2 large contributions, where the individual with a higher valuation makes the last and the largest one-time contribution. It's a very intuitive thing. If I know that your valuation is higher about the project, and if I know about the valuation, if I am the one who is contributing first, I'll contribute only the rest and leave it for you to pay whatever is your valuation, because then you break even. Right? It's like standard economic theory. So then that is one way. So we see there is an incidence of that particular criteria. Most importantly, moreover, all socially beneficial projects gets completed in equilibrium. That is primarily because we restrict in a small project. primarily because social inefficiency comes out whenever there is enough delay. If we can get rid of that delay, we can get social efficiency. Okay. This is our paper, last paper that's published now, where we considered a nice application where we considered individuals who are different in their level of impatience. A bunch is myopic, another bunch is farsighted. And we have shown that when the difference, the level of impatience differ beyond the threshold, then the myopic people can free ride on the farsighted ones. When they are within that threshold, they cannot. But in any case, we show the social inefficiency still persists because the moment you take a project which without restriction on its size, so that it cannot get completed in 2 or 3 or 4 time periods, you get social inefficiency. You can't. There's a nice paper that they just come out with. They deal with something, but I'm not getting. That's a different literature. Okay, so this is what is basic. The major developments in this. So what we do, what we show is the following. Yeah, sure.
What's the role of government in the literature you just spoke on?
Which one?
This one, because you are saying that people behave strategically, right? When people behave strategically, then where is the role of government? I believe when government steps into constructing or providing public goods, it internalizes the problems like free riders.
Sure, but this is a private provision of public good. So we are talking about an elevator.
So you get service as you pay.
No, you get together as a community and you decide that this DDA is not going to take care of, but it's beneficial for us. We have room. So since it's beneficial for us and we will be willing to contribute, we are going to incur the contribution costs. Why don't we provide it ourselves? Because you see the major cosmopolitan cities, beyond a point government can't provide.
Oh yeah.
So then this is the only way out if you have to, but now this paper that I am talking about, you will see that the results show that there are the scope of very nice government interventions which actually motivate people to contribute more and more.
So it's more like the problem we are talking about is arrangement for providing club rooms, right? The community gets together and it decides
privately providing
club
rooms.
So yeah, in that way it's more like club rooms.
Yeah. Privately provided club rooms. Yes, of course. Now, what we show? Okay, we show that dynamic contributions of asymmetric individuals are strategic complements, which means that individuals increase their contributions as the project progresses, irrespective of the nature of the work, which comes in sharp contrast with Feshman and Nitzer, who says that it is absolute ability A, and then it extends the result of this for any size. I'm going to talk about that when we talk about that. But this is the first result. Okay. The second result is if the good is discrete, it's a lift, an elevator, if it's a bridge, then an individual with a higher valuation obviously, they both increase the contributions over time. But an individual with a higher valuation contributes a higher absolute amount every period. Okay, so an individual with a higher valuation contributes a greater amount every period along the equilibrium. Which means that there is no scope or no incidence of any type of free riding whatsoever. Okay? We increase, when we see more money has been collected, we pay more. Not only that, if I value the provision higher, I contribute a higher amount every single period towards that. So it's a very nice, good, positive result. Of course, like I said, we still have social inefficiency because we don't restrict the size of the project. Okay? But this is a positive result. What happens when it's a continuous good? And this is one of the central. This is one of the findings that I think it's very novel in the literature. Nobody has talked about this. we have shown that the following. There are two individuals, okay, we are asymmetric in their valuation. When that valuation asymmetry goes beyond a threshold, and of course we completely characterize all the, I completely characterize all the threshold and everything. So when it goes beyond a threshold, okay, so when my valuation is significantly lower than your valuation, okay, you are the higher valuation guy, you contribute to the provision from the beginning. But I contribute nothing until your contributions add up to a critical amount. I want to see that whether my contributions are worth the benefit I am receiving. And after that amount has been collected, then we both contribute. Okay, and we both contribute, and like I said in the previous one, we both increase our contributions as we go along and we reach a steady state.
So the people with the smaller valuation of the final product will contribute later once the threshold is.
Yes, yes. But then when the valuation asymmetry is not that far,
Then it just.
then we both wait. Who pays for that? Government. Then we both wait for an external funding guarantee. Okay? Now look at that. Look at this. There are quite a few examples that we can find in the literature like this. This happened in 1995 when this person offered this much in state bonds to finance a new basketball arena on the condition that the rest of the money has to be raised privately. Okay, this is a charitable giving example, of course. It's a different example, it's a different. But look at the policy implication. The fact that I guarantee you that if you collect that 50K, I'll give you 25K from government support, and that is guaranteed. The moment you guarantee, it gives a lot of incentive for people to start contributing. And then when it actually came time to do the public fundraising, they have to only do this much. And obviously it's a success story. There are many more like this. I only put this in because I think is most talked about. He cited this in James Andrew cited this in his famous paper, and then it got cited everywhere else. So this is the policy, kind of the policy implication that this paper is giving you. That okay, you can get together people who are more asymmetric and then have a provision where one person is free riding on another person for a while, for an initial time period. Okay, but then once they both get in, they kind of get into the thick of it, and then they keep contributing and then reach a steady state. But if they are not, if they are both moderately benefiting and there is no significant difference between them, you have to provide external funding guarantee that will give them incentive to start the contribution, and then it will reach a steady state. So the project will start with or without the external support, depending on how asymmetric individuals are. Okay? But then once they start, they gain momentum and then they go to a steady state. But the point is that if the situation is this, we might have to allow, it allows room for government intervention, like what you were saying. Okay? So this is the results. This is a preview of results, of course, because I did not talk a single thing about it. I think I'm overshooting the time for a little while, but if you have any questions so far, because I have made the presentation for general audience, I'm going to keep the technical things to a minimum. But from now on, I have to get into a little bit of modeling techniques and a little bit of information. So before that, this is the contribution of this paper. If you have any questions, I can address now. Otherwise, I'm going to just show you the results.
So in this case, what you are saying that the government spends upfront a significant chunk of amount that minimizes free riders problem, right?
That minimizes free riders problem, and then that also gives individuals to, you don't have to pay, you can just guarantee. And that is much more stronger result. You can say publicly that if you can get 50 lakhs, then I'll pay 25 lakhs.
But it doesn't get around the problem of free riding completely, right? It minimizes.
It stays, its free riding behavior is restricted,
Yeah.
but it doesn't get around, right? Of course, yes. You can't completely alleviate that, yeah. But you can reduce. So there is a partial free riding here, but where the free riding is completely alleviated is here.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So then this is a model. So there are three basic things, and at every instant, an individual I contributes xi which cost him this. The cost is symmetric. C doesn't have an indices, so marginal cost is increasing and convex, which means that, you know, when I pay 1,000 from 6 to 7,000 vis-a-vis 1,000 from 2 to 3, it bites me more when I'm going from 6 to 7, which is a very regular assumption. But the thing is that the marginal cost doesn't vary across individuals, they are symmetric. Okay? Now this is the key thing about the literature, about the equilibrium notion, that the equilibrium is based on a variable that's called cumulative collective contributions, which means that the amount of money that has been collected by now. So that's why it's called the state of the project, because it serves as a state variable in this dynamic optimization problem. Why? Because whatever money has been collected so far, when I make the contribution decision, that is given. So today it's the day for me to make the contribution, I get the information of what has been collected so far, and that I cannot change. I can decide how much to contribute based on that, but that's already the state of the system. That's already given. That's where I enter. So, but how the state of the project progresses is by this. So I can change the state of the project, the state of the project by my contribution. Similarly, everybody else can change the state of the project by their own contributions. But now, since if it's a continuous good, then that means that amount can already also be implemented as a good, which also means it has a wear and tear, so it depreciates by an amount. But if it is a discrete good, usually the literature doesn't take delta equal to 0, because if discrete good is just that you are accumulating the money, when the money gets collected, when the money accumulated to the whatever 10,000 rupees, then you get the service or you don't. But usually for continuous good it is positive, for discrete good it is 0, but doesn't change the result. So I have it for both of it. Okay. Now here is the distinction. If the good is continuous, the provision can be accessed at any point in time, and therefore that's a function of the collective contributions. Okay, if that's a function of the money that I have collected, it's a function of the state of the system. Whereas if the good is discrete, the contributions are immediately sunk. That's the whole idea about this bridge thing, right? Because if I pay half, my money is sunk. I don't get to see any benefits unless the bridge come up, and then the other guy can actually play me by saying, look, your money is gone. Unless you give me another 10 crores, I'm not paying a penny, and then you are stuck there. So that's the whole idea. The good is discrete, the contributions are immediately sunk, and the provision is ready only at this time. That's the stopping time, that's the first time when the cumulative collective contribution reaches an exogenous amount of money that is needed for the provision. So that's the fundamental difference between the continuous good and discrete good, and therefore this is how the valuation asymmetry is modeled. So the benefit function for a continuous good is like that. It's a function of the state variable, and I've taken it a very simplified function. I've taken it a function where there is a constant marginal benefit. The function is linear, there is a constant marginal benefit, and that marginal benefit varies across two individuals. I'll tell you why I've taken that. Because it gives me some benefit A, and it also overcomes some of the previous work, the issues with the previous work. But this is very simple. So continuous public good, my benefit is a constant marginal benefit function where the marginal benefit differs across individuals. So if you think about this for a moment, this K is the money that has been accumulated. Right? So the moment you contribute a penny, that increases K. And that increases benefit for both the individuals, but at a different rate, which in turn gives them a different incentive to contribute towards. Whereas this is not the same. You can increase your contribution, but that doesn't give me any positive benefit, except the fact that now I expect it to complete a year. If I need 10,000 rupees, and if you have suddenly pumped in 2,000, then I expect now that this T is going to be brought forward. And that, if it so happens, then it gives me an increase in lifetime utility, discounted lifetime benefit by a lump sum amount. But other than that, an increase in somebody else's contribution doesn't benefit me directly in any way, in case of discrete. But in case of continuous good, it does. And that is precisely why you get the partial freeriding thing. I'll explain later, in a while.
It's an assumption to get your results, or?
No, it's a standard thing. This is how it is modeled. I mean, this is like, you have the bridge. You are collecting money for the bridge. You need 1 lakh rupees for the bridge. Once the bridge is ready, then you can use the bridge forever. And every period you use the bridge, you have your due one. Some other individual have their D2. Okay? Forever. Every period. But until that T has come, when what was that Southex bridge was broken, you have long traffic jam. Until it is done, you can't use that. So this is the standard way of modeling them. So this is essentially the problem. This is the problem of the public good, that we maximize this subject to this. This is the lifetime benefit cost function. So you have, at every period of time you get this benefit. This is your cost. It is discounted from 0 to infinity. This is the law of motion of the state variable, and initial is 0. Whereas the continuous public good is the same thing, but the only difference is that you contribute only till that T period when it is in progress. Once T arrives, you don't contribute anymore, you only leave benefit from T to forever. But that T is linked to this K. So as you contribute more and more, this T keeps changing. If you contribute faster, the T will come forward. If you delay, T will go further off. And then there is this e raised to the power minus RT. So if bringing T forward makes this term bigger and this term smaller. Pushing T back in the back reduces this term, increases this. And everything is discounted at the rate R. So if you delay further, if you delay enough, you might still get it in place, but it might not be socially beneficial anymore. In the sense, the benefit that you will accumulate might not be worth sacrificing the money. Okay, and that's why essentially you get some of the social inefficiencies. Okay, so this is the technical things, and this is the problem. This is essentially the problems, and this is the solution concept. I'm just going to, if you want to talk about that, I'll be very happy. But I'm just, for the time being, I'm just going to just going to talk about what it essentially is. Okay. So in this problem, in this kind of a problem, this is a dynamic optimization problem where the strategic element is that there are quite a few equilibrium notions. Okay. The first one is called an open loop equilibrium, which is like a Nash equilibrium. It means that I stand at time 0 and I tell you, I commit to a contribution path. Okay? And that contribution path, I stick to that contribution path. That's a best response. That's my best response. True. But I stick to that contribution path no matter what you do over time. It's like a Nash equilibrium. Okay? But then this one came, this is by I forget this name, Masculine-Tirol. This is by Masculine-Tirol. This equilibrium concept. This is like that I decide to contribute in a complete information game by observing what has been collected so far. So every time I ask you how much money has been collected. So I look at the collection that has been collected by now and then I decide to contribute. So every sub-game my contribution decision is changed and therefore by backward induction it's a sub-game perfect by definition, because when you stand at any k, at any t you have a k, given a t you have a k, you have a sum that has been collected and you stand there and you optimally decide, okay, this is what has been collected, how much I should contribute. So from there the rest of the tree you are maximizing at every single period. So it's looking at it from backward, it's a sub-game perfect, but in a nutshell the whole idea is that my strategy is my contribution strategy. So I say xi as a contribution and equilibrium strategies are by phi individual and the value function, which is the discounted lifetime benefit of that contribution, is by vi. Okay, so a pi and vi are a function of the state variable. Okay, so when I enter at a particular point, I observe the state and then I decide how much to contribute for every time. Okay, so this is a sub-game perfect by definition, and this is the definition which you can ignore for this for now. Okay, so here is the basic result. It's messy. I am going to try to distill as much information as I need to disseminate right now. But a few things. So this is the result for continuous public good. This is the first part of the proposition. This is the second part of the proposition, and then this is the result for discrete public good, and this is only proposition. Okay. So let's go over the discrete public good first. So what are the contributions? So what do we need to see? Like you're already familiar with yourself with the literature. What people basically talk about is how two things. How my contributions are changing over time. Whether I'm increasing my contribution or decreasing my contribution. Here that means that whether I'm increasing my contribution with respect to k. K is what has been collected so far. Which means that if I see an increase in collection from last period, do I increase my contribution or do I decrease my contribution? Okay, that is the source of dynamic free riding. So if I see a lot of people are contributing more, do I contribute also more? Do I get motivated to contribute more? Or do I try to free ride and play it down? Then let them contribute. I'm going to contribute less and I'm fine to get it 3 periods later, but I don't want to contribute that much. Okay? So here the first thing is whether these gammas are positive or negative. And we find that both the gammas are same and they are positive. Okay, so the individual contributions are strategic complements across time. This is that famous term by Bullock, Lemper, and Galapagos. So individual contribution are strategic complements across time, which means that they increase their contribution as the time progresses, as the state of the project progresses, as they see more money flowing in, they also pump in more money, they increase their contributions. Individual, I always render that's a threshold, it's fine, it's a common threshold for everybody. 501k in terms of absolute value is greater than 501t as long as the benefits are higher. So the individual with a higher benefit contributes a higher, greater absolute amount every single time. Now, so what is going on? What is going on? Why we get this result? So think about this. This is a very, the whole thing lies between the benefit cost analysis and the nature of the good. So when you see more money has come in, the good is discrete, it's a bridge, right? It's not going to immediately benefit me. But when you have seen the collective contribution has gone up, you see there is a possibility of an earlier completion. Now an earlier completion means that your this part, so the T is going down. So as the T is going down, the future is discounted, this thing is going up. Okay? And this thing is going down. So when you see an increase in collective contribution, you can do two things. Either you can increase your contribution and further accelerate the completion, or you can decrease your contribution and let it happen in their own pace and save on your contribution cost. Now along this equilibrium, individuals equate marginal cost of contribution to marginal benefit of getting the project completed a little early, which means that it turns out that their best response is increase the contribution and get it finished even before time. That is true for everybody. Okay? But when I have a higher D, then my lump sum increase in benefit for an increase for a decrease in completion time is much higher than the other guy who has a lower D. And that gives me an incentive to pump in more money in terms of absolute values. So this is what is happening in terms of where it is discrete public. Okay? So there are two things. Individual contribution, they increase their contribution as they go along, and the higher valuation individual contributes a greater amount every period along the equilibrium. Okay? So it's a nice sign picture of an equilibrium, excuse me. But now this is the socially beneficial project. These are the extent of socially beneficial projects which are not completed in this equilibrium. Like I said, if you do not restrict, so this, if you remember the result by Comte and Zale, they say that when it is completed in 2 periods, the guy with higher valuation makes the last and the largest one-time contribution to complete the project. This is extension of his work, where if it is forever, if it is not restricted, the guy with the larger valuation always contributes more. But since he restricted in 2 periods, he got social efficiency. I have no restriction, so I got efficiency. Okay. Now, what is going on here? Of course, the same thing, we see the gammas are positive, so the gammas are positive, so they are still increasing their contribution as they go along. This is the value of the steady state. So I'll just try to draw your attention in 2 things here. First of all, so their benefit function is this. Okay? In the continuous good, their benefit function is this, and AI is the marginal benefit of individual I. When this is a marginal benefit differential, when this go above this particular thing, when this is higher than 1, what we have gammas positive for both the cases. So gamma is positive here and gamma is positive here. That's not a worry, okay? Now what we're trying to see is that beta is this nasty thing and beta 2 is this nasty thing. Okay, so we're trying to make some sense out of that. So what we found is when A1 and A2 exceeds a particular value which is given by this, okay, my beta 1 is positive, but my beta 2 is negative, which means the following. So this is a value greater than 1. That means when it exceeds that, that means that A1 is significantly greater than A2 beyond that threshold. Then when that happens, then the contribution of individual 1, which is the absolute contribution of individual 1, is always positive from the beginning. But contribution of individual 2, B2 is negative. This one is positive, which means that this is positive only after k equal to something. Where does that k come from? That k, which is given by k tilde, comes from the contribution of individual 1. So if I am the lower valuation guy and if the valuation difference exceeds the threshold, I wait. I see that guy who is on the 5th floor, let him start to contribute because his valuation about the elevator is much more than mine. Why would I start contributing? I will wait. How much? Until this has reached so that I know it's a credible project. And then I start pumping my money. Because then I know that okay, he really means it. Everybody else whose valuation is above mine really means it. So why not I also contribute, start contributing, and then this is the story. But what happens when it lies within a tiny little thing? So when it is, no, not this. This is the same story. This is the same story because this is 0 and 1. A1 and A2 is less than this, which means that A2 by A1 is greater than this. This is the same story. This means that individual 2's valuation is significantly higher than individual 1's, and then the 2 always contributes, but 1 contributes after a threshold. This is the same story. But what happens? It lies within this threshold. What happens when they are differentiated, but moderately differentiated? Then you are asking that part, how much, whether we completely alleviate. Then this guy contributes after k is equal to k hat or k hat. This guy contributes after k equal to k bar. Okay? Then out of those two, one has to be minimum. That minimum contribution must have to come from outside.
Yes.
And once the minimum contribution, suppose this is minimum. Okay? When this is guaranteed, then this guy starts contributing. And then this guy takes contribution level from here to here. And then this guy starts contributing. You understand? You see what I'm saying? So then that the difference, the free partial free rating is only the difference of this k hat and k bar, k tilde and k hat. Because if one guy needs 10,000, another guy needs 15,000 to start their contribution, then that 10,000 has to come from outside. But the moment 10,000 has come, I am fine. I see that government has guaranteed that. So I will start my contribution. I will take 10 to 15, I will take. And the moment 15 comes, then he starts to contribute. Because now he has seen the government has done that. That's a credible thing. Okay? This guy means it's real. So he has done another 5,000. So why not? Why not me now also? So these two are the same result. The two flip sides of the coin, when one person is significantly higher than another. But this one means when they are differentiated but moderately differentiated. Okay? What happens? I haven't put it in, I don't think I have put it in here, but what happens when they are homogeneous? So homogeneous is the extreme case, right? What happens they are homogeneous? Obviously no partial free riding. There is no free riding because nobody can free ride, but then you always need an external guarantee. Because everybody is waiting for that minimum threshold benefit so that their costs are worthy of the lifetime benefit that they receive. Okay? So what is happening here? So what is happening? I think I've already overshot. But the idea behind here is just that more K comes in, one person contributes and I have immediate increase in my benefits. Okay? So that benefit increase, if you look at the problem, that benefit increase is discounted from that is integrated throughout a lifetime, right? So when a K increases, that gives me a discounted lifetime increase, okay? But in order for me to make that worthy of my contribution cost, I need a threshold. Now that threshold might come from a guy who is living on the 5th floor, but if there is no 5th floor, if it is just 3-story building, and it's just 1 or 2 story, 2 or 3, they're different, but they're marginally different. Then I need that guarantee from outside. Somebody must give me that guarantee for me to be incentive compatible to contribute. But once that guarantee is given, then we go on, then it's a positive story. Okay? So what we, and I've talked about all this. So what we basically do is that dynamic free riding problem is alleviated, not completely but partially in different situations in terms of, dynamic free riding problem is alleviated in the sense that dynamic free riding is taken by whether it's strategic complement or substitute. Whether when you see an increased K, whether you increase more or less. So that is taken care of in any case because they are all increasing their contributions. But there is a partial free riding. There is a partial free riding that exists in case of continuous public good. In case of discrete public goods, it's a happy ending story. But still there is a social inefficiency which is going to stay unless you do something about this, the length of the project. And this is the contribution. This is what we have done. This is what I have done. And this is where it is placed. So what I'm trying to motivate from this thing and I conceive this as like what I said, that I'm getting into all this, I'm going to take 2 more minutes. I'm getting to all these things, about this climate contracts and all that, because I think there's some sort of lack in not the way of perceiving the problem. I think we perceive the problem all right, but we lack in designing an incentive compatible contract that kind of it reinforces the second best, if not first best. Okay. So what was my motivation in doing this is because the situation is getting so worse in terms of air. We were literally living in a gas chamber throughout the year. It's not even spiked anymore. You look at the AQI at any point of time, they never go below 250, which is hazardous. I mean, just imagine we had this person who did a PhD from NYU, and that person took the effect of rainfall on the good effect of rainfall in reducing PM 2.5 in United States. By the end of her talk, I asked her, so what are the PM 2.5 you're talking about? She said that it's the difference between 8 and 32. Just think about it. We live in 250 all the time and they are worried about whether it's 32 or 8. So this is what it is. This is how alarming it is. And I think that the one thing that it gives is that either you can, even if they rely on each other, you see, the steady state level of probation is 3 times A1 plus A2. So somebody who values really high, I might be able to free ride on that person, but that person is seriously contributing on a steady state amount of provision. So even if I'm free riding, it's socially beneficial. And if I'm not able to free ride, okay, then this particular angle that you give some sort of guarantee externally from the government or from a third party, which is credible, that might actually make the situation much better in terms of individual contributions over time. So yes, I'm going to stop now. That's all I have to offer today. If you have any questions, sure, I'll be happy to answer here or afterwards or whenever.
Yeah. In the context of there may be many questions, but in the context of this climate change which is your interest area, I was only wondering what are who are the agents in this sort of club which you have on your mind? Is it only the government, state governments or the national
So this is still a work in progress. But think about states, okay? Now each state has its own structure and has its own agents or strategic agents who contribute in the pollution that is created by that state. But that pollution doesn't stay within the boundary of the state, right? That's the whole idea of climate treaty, right? Because the whole idea of this Kyoto Protocol and now with the successor of the Kyoto Protocol, we're trying to say, we are saying that give a cap to the regions that they cannot pollute beyond that. There are problems, there are issues with that, I agree, and there are this permits problem, and let's talk about one by one. So even if you give a cap, okay, suppose you tell that, okay, Haryana cannot burn more than this much, okay, or if we cannot burn stubble at all or whatever. The question is that when you get to the micro level, there are a decision maker, okay, and those decision makers, what is their incentive? The cost benefit analysis, right? A dispersal machine costs to 14 lakhs or something, okay? So the best thing they know, and of course their ignorance plays a large part, but the best thing they know is get rid of that by burning. Because when you think about the cost benefit analysis for that short period of time, that looks like the best option, right? Now, the question is, can you give them some sort of incentives? In terms of what? I don't know. I haven't worked it out.
Not just, I was actually thinking, you see, in terms of when we are talking about, say, a provision of a lift and people coming together. So you had 3 people living on different floors.
Yeah.
Here, in the case of, it's the negotiation between the governments, which is the first level.
Sure.
And then the government has to actually
implement that.
Yes, implement and tell that to its own people, which again creates its own level of free riding possibility.
Yeah. It's mess.
I was only wondering, in terms of
No, if you are already
levels of segregating where
No.
are you?
Let me clarify this. This analysis doesn't go through there. If you are wondering, this is a simple private provision of public good.
No, I was it is.
For heterogeneous vendors.
Doesn't go there. Because that climate contract is a different beast altogether. Okay, you have to model every single thing. Even if you disregard what he is talking about, it's a very valid problem. That how do you conceive among the political issues and then the implementation, because there is corruption, there is individual freedom. But even if you disregard those, the whole designing of the policy is a huge deal. There's a paper published by somebody called Bart Harstad. He is now at Oslo, he was in Kellogg, he's published a paper in Review of Economic Studies. You can take a look, it's amazingly written, but just if you take a look, you understand that how a basic model, how complicated it gets when it's a country or inter-nation or inter-region treaty. It's complicated. Okay, that's true. So I am happy to take that forward what you're trying to say, but I'm just trying to tell you that this doesn't work.
This is
No.
And the other thing that passed my mind was here when you talk of free riding and contribution and all that, we have not taken into account some kind of a budget constraint.
Yes, I know.
But sort of an open resource availability kind of a situation.
Yeah.
So in real life where...
But you don't need to, right? See, look, you don't need to, because I've thought about that as well. So there's a literature that thinks about the neutrality of this thing, right? But you don't really need to. If I contribute more, okay? If I contribute less, I'm definitely saving that money for some other utilization, right? So,
bring government explicitly into your model, then perhaps you need a budget constraint, because as long as it can be resolved in a repeated claim between individuals, I don't think you need
then probably you have this transfer in mind,
It is
right?
Then it will only be a matter matter of time.
Right, because private individuals, they already have vendors, and that's the problem of budget constraint.
But
The moment you bring
more
in
importantly,
we would have solved most of the public.
No, what I'm saying perhaps is
It
not.
might be infinity, I mean, it's possible.
no, but the point is that if you are not contributing, why partial free riding in a strategic sense is lucrative to you? Because when you are not contributing, it's implied that you are using that money somewhere else, which is giving you benefit. That's why you're not contributing. If you would not have otherwise use of that money, you might as well contribute, right? So, if I'm not working, I might as well do something. That's the opportunity value of that time.
This model may not work where people are living subsistence level of life and then provisioning a private provisioning of public good is there. So no budget is available and then compare is it going to contribute.
No, you see, there is a very good thing. Thanks for taking that out. There's a very good application, right? So in some countries of some European countries, they have redesigned the housing project. Okay, so what they have done is this. So in the same complex, okay, there are like standalone villas, and then there are suites, and there are one-bedroom apartments also. Okay, here you don't see that. Here localities are income-based, more or less, right? What is the whole idea? The whole idea is that if I have, for example, I don't know, if I have Roger Federer living on in the same neighborhood, the property that he has out there, he has so much valuation out there, so he will be so much, willing to pay for the provision, public provision. He might single-handedly take care of the whole thing, which we all will be able to free ride. But it's a socially beneficial thing. Because he doesn't mind giving $100,000 by the end of the year, right? We are free riding. But it is socially beneficial. The same thing works here, right? The partial free riding is a free ride. But the rich guy doesn't care because he's not rich guy. The higher valuation guy doesn't care that much because his valuation is higher. If I really love to run, then a jogging track, when it is about to be built, I will take, because even if you build it half, I can use that half and my utility from that is very high. Compared to somebody who is just, on the borderline. I'll do it or not do it. So, I am free riding. Right? That's what you say. That if I have asymmetric people, the whole idea around this place, at least I see, is built on kind of a symmetry. But this asymmetry, if you can actually model it or if you can implement it well, it's not a bad idea in the sense there will be free riding, but that might actually eventually turn out to be a socially beneficial outcome. So I know in some places that housing project has been implemented. One place is Sweden, and I think Norway or some other place I can dig deeper, but that was the whole idea. So yes, obviously, subsistence will become.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me over.